Welcome back. The COVID-19 situation in Latin America and the Caribbean remains dire, so says PAHO's director Clarissa Etienne. She notes that more and more disease trends are showing a region divided by vaccine access. In countries with adequate vaccine supply, infections are decreasing. In places where vaccine coverage is still low, in those countries, infections remain high.
Unfortunately, across Latin America and the Caribbean, only 15% of people have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19, and several countries like Honduras and Haiti have yet to reach even 1%. And while vaccine donations are on their way to these countries, vaccine coverage remains dangerously low in many more countries across our region.
The PAHO director says the region faces a pandemic of the unvaccinated, and the only way to stop it is to expand vaccination.
Vaccines are critical, even if no vaccine is 100% effective. Just as important are public health measures like physical distancing, mask wearing, avoiding crowds, and also infection control measures like testing, contact tracing, and quarantine and isolation. Together, these measures are the fundamentals of our response, and they remain effective against variants of concern.
PAHO has urged donors and international agencies around the world to help Latin America and the Caribbean region to secure the vaccines needed to save lives and to bring the virus under control as soon as possible. ROSELA King gave her first sit-down interview on politics to Hot 7 TV on Tuesday. She spoke against the backdrop of her husband's departure from the United Workers' Party after over 3 decades. She spoke about the fallout since her husband's announcement and the vitriol that has been aimed at him. But what about her? What of her own ties to the United Workers' Party? Have her friends within the UWP Wives Club turned to foes over politics? While the husbands do political battle, what toll does the political campaign take on their wives, on the friendships within political circles? ROSELA King sat with Hot 7 TV News on Tuesday to speak on her husband's campaign and what she termed his divorce from the United Workers' Party. Did it also mean that she had to divorce herself from the friendships she held with the wives of Stephenson King's former cabinet colleagues?
Last time I was engaged in what I call a little tea party because the wives of the ministers, especially during this time, we always met to give each other, moral support. But since my husband came out and declared his distance from the party, there has been a silence, but that is expected. I know that one thing I will publicly say, that I make no enemies over politics, because in life you never know where you're going to fall, who would put a spoon of water to your mouth. So I am making no enemies over politics. Those who want to be my enemies, fine, but personally I have no enemies in the United Workers' Party.
However, ROSELA King says the reactions since her husband's announcement of his independent run have been hurtful, and moral support has been in short supply from those she once called friends. Did you share a close, warm relationship with the wife of the Prime Minister?
Yes, we had a very cordial relationship, and there were one or two that were especially close to me, that, we had our little lunches and outings. There were some I really held close to my heart. And to be honest, one or two that I spoke with, I told them, if you would like, we can continue to be friends, because there's no way that overnight that people can just turn from being your friends and then the following day say such hurtful lies about you. If someone is your friend, they are your friends.
The wife of the long-serving parliamentarian and former Prime Minister says, come what may, she will continue to keep love in her heart when it comes to the wives that she once met regularly. She urges members of the public not to allow politics to sever friendships and lead to discord within families and communities. Meanwhile, back in September 2020, RAQUEL CHASTNY, wife of Prime Minister Alan CHASTNY, spoke to Hot 7 TV on her personal journey at her husband's side throughout his tenure as Prime Minister, and she spoke on claims that her family cannot identify with everyday St. Lucians. RAQUEL CHASTNY has spent the past 5 years at her husband's side. During that time, she has chaired the Make It Happen Foundation, adopting the cause of police and fire officers by putting on an officers' ball to raise funds to provide equipment or to take on remedial works at their stations. Back in September 2020, she spoke to Hot 7 TV about how she views her role as the wife of the Prime Minister.
We started the foundation immediately after elections. I really wanted to adopt, or to use the platform to adopt a cause, and there was just so much going on at the time, and there were many things that were required at police and fire stations, so I decided to use the opportunity to try to raise funds to remedy some of those shortcomings.
There has been much criticism that Alan CHASTNY and his family do not identify with the average St. Lucian. In fact, during an interview with Hot 7 TV News on nomination day, independent candidate for Castries Central Richard Frederick stated, quote, "Alan CHASTNY is not one of us and does not like people of our color," end quote. In her previous interview with Hot 7 TV in September 2020, RAQUEL CHASTNY was asked about how she feels about the portrayal of her family as being different and very apart from the people of St. Lucia.
Well, my family and Alan's family are two of the oldest families in St. Lucia. We've always been around. I mean, before anything else, we're both St. Lucian, and we're very proud of that. I've never felt other. I've never gone anywhere and been made to feel other. I think sometimes there's a perception, if people don't know me, I get this comment all the time, and it always throws me, and they say things to me like, "Hey, you're really down to earth, you're really a nice person." I'm thinking, but why would you have thought that I'm not? And I think there's a perception sometimes that I'm going to treat people differently than I do. And then sometimes if I speak in local dialect, they're surprised that I said, well, I'm a Dubuli. I'm born and raised here just like you, you know. There is an element of surprise sometimes that still surprises me to a day like today, that there's an immediate perception you may not be as nice as you appear to be or as normal. And I don't understand that, because I've had a certain amount of privilege in my life, in the sense that I never had to worry where my next meal would be coming from. But I've always felt that I was just an average St. Lucian person.
Reflecting on her personal experience as wife of the Prime Minister, she stated that a lack of private time as a family has been difficult to navigate during her husband's tenure at the helm of the government. On Wednesday, the Ministry of Education released the results of the 2021 Common Entrance Examination. For the second consecutive year, the examination was solely multiple choice. This year, the grades range from 96.44% to 5.33%. Majority of top performers this year were also from the same school, the Camille Henry Memorial Primary School.
On June 29, 2021, 2,143 students across the island sat the final Common Entrance Examination. On Wednesday 21st, the Ministry of Education presented the results of the 2021 examination. This year's range of composite scores were between 5.33% and 96.44%. The top performer, Zante Edward of the Camille Henry School, and 4 of his schoolmates were among the top 10 students on the island.
In 5th place, Gianna L. Fortune of the Bonte Primary School scored 96% and was assigned to the St. Joseph's Convent. In 3rd place, we have Aiden George, who's a student of the Camille Henry Memorial School. He scored 96.22% and was assigned to the St. Mary's College. Aiden George and Megan F. Francis came in 3rd, and Megan Francis is a student of the Camille Henry Memorial School, and she was assigned to the St. Joseph's Convent. In 2nd place, we have Nisha K. Lovels, another student of the Camille Henry Memorial School, scoring 96.33%, and she was assigned to the St. Joseph's Convent. Our top performer this year, Zante J. Edward of the Camille Henry Memorial School, scored 96.44%, and was assigned to the St. Joseph's Convent.
The other 5 students in the top 10 hailed from Bonte Preparatory, the Montessori Center, Dame Paulette Primary, and Plainview combined. Of the 10 students, there was only one male, Aidan George. The permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education, Michelle Charles, explains that the education landscape is changing rapidly and encouraged parents, teachers, and other stakeholders to ensure that they provide adequate guidance to students as they continue to climb the ranks to success.
That is why we have diversified the education landscape by creating additional pathways for our students. No longer must your child or ward feel compelled to follow the traditional access to secondary education. The establishment of the St. Lucia Sports Academy and our alliance with the Center for Adolescent Renewal and Education, CARE, are other approaches available to our students as they commence their secondary education journey. At CARE, the students can enroll into the Junior Life program and upon completion, choose to reintegrate into the secondary school or continue with the Adolescent Development Program and graduate with Caribbean vocational qualifications. These are 2 options currently in place for our students. I therefore encourage principals and parents to consider these facilities as they guide the development of our nation's children.
Students were tested on 3 components: English language, general paper, and mathematics. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
Delving deeper into the common entrance results, here once again is Genevieve Gonzague, who tells us about how once again females have outperformed males in the examination.
Come next year, common entrance will no longer be used as the determining factor as to whether a student makes it to the secondary school of their choice or not. Instead, the Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment will be used. This year, 1,243 students sat the final common entrance examination. During the presentation of the 2021 results, the Registrar for Exams, Carmelita Matthew, gave the statistics outlining the performances of the female students versus that of males, the level of performances for the last 4 years, as well as a side-by-side comparison of the mean averages of the various districts. Similar to 2020, females outperformed their male counterparts in every component examined. The mean averages for general paper, English language, and mathematics were 60.32%, 61.72%, and 63.28% respectively.
We can see in 2021 that in mathematics, we had an improvement here as compared to 2017, 2018, and 2019. But the performance in 2020 was higher than that of 2021. For the English language, we could see that in 2022, that was the highest performance. General paper, in 2017, the highest performance was obtained there. When we look at mathematics, we could see that in 2021, mathematics performance is higher than that of the general paper and also the English language performance.
Although mathematics remains a challenging area for most, the subject registered the highest grades overall. In 2020, only 3 districts surpassed the national mean. This time around, another district has been added to that list.
In 2018, our mean was 60.09. In 2019, 60.09. Remember this time when both years were the same, we had the same mean. In 2020, there was great improvement here with 64.26. But in 2021, there is a decline in the performance, and it is 61.77. There are some districts that were able to obtain a mean above the national mean, and some who are still struggling to meet the national mean. Districts 1, 2, 6, and 7 were able to meet and to be above the national mean, 61.77. The other districts are below the mean.
Matthew also noted that there was an increase in the number of students who recorded scores of 40% and lower in this year's examination.
When we look at 2020, we could see that there was a rise in the number of students who obtained less than 40 in English language and in mathematics, but there was a decline in the general paper. But in 2021, we could see that there was an increase in the number of students obtaining less than 40% in all three components of the examination. In mathematics, most students obtained less than 40% than in the general paper and English language.
Of the 1,000+ students who sat the exam, 17 were unassigned to secondary schools. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
Stay with us, there's more news after the break.